Hi everyone, I'm Heather from Sunshine and Family Time, and today I'm here to talk with you about the new disability pass from Universal Studios. This is a different pass than what it has been in the past, called the DAS pass, and now it has a whole lot of acronyms. So it is the new IBCCES Individual Accessibility Card, or IAC, that is now going to be required at Universal Studios. And I'm going to talk to you how you can acquire your disability pass. So hit the like button and subscribe for more upcoming videos. One thing to note is that Universal can no longer issue these accessibility cards. It must be done through this website. And I'll put that website along the screen at the bottom. And I'm going to walk you all the way through on how to get one of these new disability cards. All right, so before we get started, I want to let everybody know exactly where you can find this information. And you go right on the Universal app and you go past all the rides, go past all the Harry Potter information, go clear to the bottom where it says corporate partners. Click on that, and then it will take you to another page, and at the very bottom of that page, so you have to go all the way down past that page. It'll tell you about its sponsors and things like that. And you go to the very bottom where it will say accessibility information. That is where you want to click for the information about all of the new disability pass at Universal Studios. And it was kind of hard to find, so that's why I really wanted to let you know right here at the beginning, that is where you can find all the information for this new disability pass at Universal Studios. So let's get started. So the website is called www.accessibility.org, and that is where you need to go prior to your visit in order to log in, send in your information to get this new pass. So please do it before you even come to Universal Studios. Everything must be done online. It is nothing like where it was before, where you could just walk up at a guest relations and then tell them why you needed the pass, and then they would give it to you right there in your hand. It was like a paper copy, and where they would sign each ride that you went to that you wanted to use the DAS pass for, they would sign on there the times for you to come back so that you wouldn't have to stand as long in line. It is no longer like that. Everything is online. So after you sign for it online, your pass is going to be online through the app. So no more paper copies for this disability IAC pass. On the website, it does mention that the queue is part of the experience for the rides, which some of the rides I would agree, especially like going through Hogwarts Castle to ride Forbidden Journey. That queue is really awesome. It goes on to mention that all of the shopping and dining places at Universal are wheelchair and ECV accessible. In addition to all of this, the website goes on to talk about different cognitive disabilities and prostheses, oxygen tanks, and different devices you may need to bring with you, as well as hearing, vision disabilities, and service animals that come into the parks with you. So all on this website. If you have any questions about any of these, you just click onto the one that you specifically need, and you can access the information right there on the app or the website for Universal. It mentions a quiet room that they have at the front of the park where you can go and where it's very quiet. It says they have rubber tiles on the ground. It has a tunnel. It mentions a hiding tunnel so that you can go somewhere quiet. It has dimming lights that you can do as well. You don't have to schedule a time to go to that room either. You can just, when you need it, you can go there if it is vacant. But they do encourage you that you use the room for 30 minutes just so that there are other people in the park that can use that room as well. They go on to have an entire downloadable document that they have. It's called a planning guide for guests with cognitive disabilities. And it is a 19-page long list of suggestions that you can do while you're at the park. But you know yourself or your family, your children, whoever you're with, you know what is best for them. These are just suggestions from the park, things that you could do while you're there to help you and your needs. Some of the suggestions that it has on there is to create an itinerary so that everyone in your party knows what you're planning to do and when. Have a meeting place at the park if you do decide to split up, or if you accidentally get separated by some of you, have a meeting place. And usually everyone has their phones with them nowadays, so make sure everybody has everyone's phone number that you are with. They have different things suggesting like a bracelet with your phone number on it, so that they can get a hold of someone if they do get separated, or something you can put on their shoelaces. They also suggest headphones or earplugs, and like a sensory or a calming item that you could have. Snacks. You can bring snacks with you inside the park as well as buy them there. And that's especially good to bring your own snacks if they have really specific dietary needs. Bring an extra change of clothes. If you do ride a water ride, you may not like to have those wet clothes on you for the rest of the day. So bringing an extra change of clothes is also a very good idea. Or if you come in the summertime, it is quite hot. So if you're too sweaty, you might want to change clothes. They also have different play areas that you can just run around to get some energy out, or just have some different areas that you can sit down where it is quiet. I like around that Bluetooth barge area, that playground with Misha the Olive. It's really quiet back in there. Not the playground itself, but you can walk all around that area and it's very quiet. They have some places that you can sit back in there. It's not super shaded, so that's the only bad thing about it, but it is usually very empty. They have a list of different things that you could expect while you're in the park as well. Like you're going to go through a security. They will run your bags through a detector. And so there's just different things that you can know before you even arrive to the parks of what you will expect going in. It even has a example of like a team member's badge, what it would look like, so that everyone will know, hey, this one is someone who actually works here. And so you could really ask them questions and they can point you in the right direction of something that you need, that you may need. Okay, so they even have like an entire list of the type of the attraction. If it has a tester seat so that you can go and try it out before you even get in line for the ride. It gives the minimum and the maximum height for each of the rides, as well as if they need a supervising companion for children. It says, it even has like a little check mark if you're afraid of heights, or if it has strobe effects, or if it has any kind of water effects on the ride, if it may have you feel claustrophobic, or if it has loud and sudden noises on the attraction, and any periods of darkness at all. There's an entire list. This is on page 8 of that documentation. An entire list of the rides and attractions. That's really neat. I love that. And it tells you specifically what part of the park they're in. So for example, in the New York section of the Universal Studios, there is a oh my goodness. Let me start that over. There is a Blues Brothers show, and it's a musical. It's live actors singing. It's outside. There's no seating available, and it will go through there and tell you things like that. So for shows as well as rides and attractions, this is a really neat ride. So also in the New York section, there's a ride called the Mummy, and it will tell you that it is a high-speed roller coaster, has sudden and dramatic acceleration. So you will stop and you will immediately go. And so it has a height requirement of 48 inches. I love this. This is really good information right there. So like I said, the Revenge of the Mummy, a high-speed roller coaster. It has a tester seat outside of the ride that you can use. It doesn't mention on here, but it does have a free locker that you can put all of your belongings in before you get into the line. So you have to do it before you get in line. 48-inch height requirement. It does have a check mark there for fear of heights, and it does have a check for strobe effects, and it also has a check for water effects as well. There is a section where the roof turns into flames, for example, and then this glass breaks, and then you feel water spraying at you. And then it does have periods of darkness as well. So this is very good, thorough information about each of the rides, each of the attractions, the shows on here, of everything that you could expect. So I love this. This is great information. So I just scrolled down a little bit. So it even has some things that isn't quite updated yet. And I know that because it mentions here Woody Woodpecker's Kids Zone, which is no longer available. They have that closed down. They are redoing that whole entire section. They haven't announced exactly what theming it's going to be to yet, but the Woody Woodpecker's ride is no longer available to ride right now. It also mentions Five O's Playland, which you cannot do. There's a Five O's Play water slide you cannot do. Curious George Goes to Town you cannot do anymore either. But in that zone, they're also including the Animal Actors on Location, which is a theater that you can sit down on and you watch the animals do different tricks. It's quite fun. But it does also include E.T. in that section too. So this E.T. ride, it does have a check mark for fear of heights. It has a check for strobe lights. It is a simulation that you're going through a forest on a flying bicycle. It also has periods of darkness checked marked on there as well. So you can go through this entire list on your own with your family, with your loved ones, and whoever you're going with to the parks, and make sure this will greatly help you make your itinerary so that you know exactly what rides you want to do. Or if some people want to do it and others do a different ride, this is really great to help you make your itinerary. I like this. Yeah, and I think it's even especially good to know also going to Universal, especially if you have younger kids that are shorter, they may not be able to ride all the rides. So it's always a very good idea to check ahead of time their height and the height requirements of all the attractions and the rides to make sure they won't be disappointed, because I know I've been to a park a few times and I've seen children very upset that they were not able to ride certain things because they were not tall enough. So check ahead of time. That way you can talk to your kids about it, and they'll go into it, the whole situation, knowing what to expect. It goes on to list the areas where the quiet areas are located in both the parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. So they have the front of the park, they have one by the New York Library, Health Services, they have one in between Louis' Italian Restaurant and Fast and Furious Supercharged. They have one in Central Park, as well as many more in Universal Studios. And IOA, or Islands of Adventure, just to name a very few quiet areas, they have one in the front of the park. They have one located in the Lost Continent. They have one at the port of entry. They have one in Toon Lagoon that is near Mishap the Olive. They also have a quiet area in City Walk. So before you even get to Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios, you must walk through City Walk to get to either of those parks. So they have a quiet zone in there as well, and it is the lower level along the waterfront. And they also have 2 quiet areas in Volcano Bay also, which is their water park for Universal Studios. And they have one in Taniwha Pathway and another one at the Volcano Cavern Pathway. At the bottom here, looking at page 15 now, they have a list of kid-friendly quick service dining locations. So if you have children with you, or just someone who may be a little bit pickier and they like some certain foods, and then they have a whole list of different restaurants that may have food that your kids would like. Burgers and chicken fingers and French fries, pizza, hot dogs, things like that they may enjoy a little bit more than other foods around the park. So service animals at the park. It says the service animals must be harnessed, leashed, or tethered unless these services interfere with the service animal's work or the individual's disability prevents using these devices. So you just have to read that information there and see what your service animal qualifies for. They also have a lot of attractions here that your service animal can go right on the rides with you. At Islands of Adventure, Spider-Man, Camp Jurassic, which is like a it's like a walkthrough area that has caves, and then Carousel, Cat in the Hat, High in the Sky Trolley, Misha the Olive, One Fish, Two Fish, Poseidon's Fury, which is now closed. So that hasn't been fully updated just yet. Kong and Storm Force Acceleration. At Universal Studios, some rides and attractions that a service animal can go on is Animal Actors on Location. That is a show. The Blues Brothers show. It mentions Curious George Goes to Town, but that one is no longer available. E.T., Fast and Furious, and Hogwarts Express. Twirl and Hurl, which is a Simpson ride that goes round and round. Jimmy Fallon ride, the Born Stuntacular, the Simpsons ride, which does make a lot of people motion sick, and the Transformers ride, as well as watching the horror makeup show. You can all have your service animals go in those. It does mention strollers. It says strollers are not allowed inside the attraction queues. There's a designated stroller parking near the entrance of each attraction. It also has a very brief little section talking about some different annual events that may happen throughout the year. So for example, if you come during Mardi Gras when it's being celebrated at Universal, know that there are going to be lots of beads everywhere. People are going to be throwing them. They may hit you. So things like that you need to be aware of. Or during Halloween Horror Nights, if you go during that time of year, know that there may be some visual things that you will see that may be too scary for you or your family. And so it's just something to keep in mind, the type of things that may be going on that time of year that you visit the theme parks. The next page that we're going to talk about is prosthetics, and this page lists all the attractions that require removal of the prosthetics before you get on the ride at each of the parks for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. At Islands of Adventure, it has 2 that it does require. The Velocicoaster and the Pteranodon Flyers. At Universal Studios, it is required for Rip Ride Rocket, and that's it. So just those 3 rides at both parks. I am not seeing anything for Volcano Bay, so if you have any questions about that, I would ask a team member. The next page I am going to talk about is the one about oxygen tanks or different devices that you may need. And it has a list at both parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, of the ones that you are able to take your devices right onto the ride or the attraction there for you. It has a little check mark beside the ride that you are able to bring it right along there with you. It does mention that your oxygen device must be secured and not affect the ride restraint. Next up, they have a page about guests with hearing disabilities, and it says that if you contact Universal Studios within 14 days before your trip at this website, it will, free of charge, both parks will give you interpreting services for the shows. It will also have open captioning and queue monitors with open captions available at certain attractions. It doesn't exactly say which attractions those are, but it does have a website that you can go for any of your inquiries. Guests with vision disabilities will have Braille or large print scripts available for them to use while in both parks. And it goes on to list some attractions that these are available for, such as if I ran a zoo inside of Universal IOA, Islands of Adventure, this is a playground area. And in Universal Studios, it has Animal Actors on Location, which is a show, the Blues Brothers show, the Born Stentacular, and the Horror Makeup Show. And for this one, it also has a list of rides and attractions that will enable you to store your cane while on these rides. For example, Dr. Doom Fear of Fall, and the Incredible Hulk Coaster, as well as Kong or E.T., Escape from Gringotts, and The Mummy, and Men in Black, just to name a few. The last section does talk about service animals, which I have mentioned a little bit. If you have any questions regarding a service animal that you're going to bring to the park, there are numbers for you to call. All right, so now that we have talked about some of the reasons why you may want a disability pass at Universal, now called IAC pass, here is exactly how you can sign up for this new pass. Now, it must be completely done online. You can no longer just walk up to guest services at the park and get this pass. It must be done in advance and online. All right, let's dive into it. Okay, so I went back to my original page with the accessibility information, and I'm just going to go right ahead and click on to the blue link where it says www.accessibilitycard.org. All that screaming in the background is my children swimming in the pool with my parents watching them. So if you hear screaming, that's what it is. And obviously, you can tell by my background, I am not in Orlando right now. I'm visiting family up in West Virginia. All right, so on this webpage, you will see the IBCCES, which stands for International Board of Credentialing and Continuing Education Standards. And the pass is the IAC, or the accessibility card for you. So let's get to it and see what we need to do in order to get the pass online. So you can read all of the information here to get your accessibility card. It must be done online on the secure site. They do have a few videos for you to watch, and it says, what is this accessibility card? What exactly does it entail? So it has a few short videos for you to watch. Also, one thing to note is that if you are trying to get one of these accessibility cards, You yourself, the one signing up, must be 18 years old. So the person needing it doesn't need to be 18 years old, but the person registering for it must be at least 18 years old. So before I go ahead and click the register button, I'm just going to go through the entire page first to make sure this is exactly what we want to do, get all the information, the background for this specific card to be used at Universal Studios. Note, it does say, please register for your card 48 hours prior to your planned visit to the park. So 48 hours, that's 2 days. I mean, most people, I would say, plan their vacation more than 2 days in advance. Living in Orlando myself, we do just pop over sometimes without planning, but most people, when they're going on vacation, know many days in advance. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe you're a last minute planner too, but at least 48 hours in advance to get this card if you need it. So if you need to do it even before then, go for it so that you make sure everything goes smoothly. All right, so it's going to go through on this website. It's going to mention some program benefits that you may have if you do get granted this card, and some different accommodations that can happen for you. So the registration for this card is free, and like I have said, it does need to be done completely online, and hopefully it will improve your overall experience at the parks when you go. Here's another video that you can watch, and again, they're just very short and sweet videos about the pass that you are about to register for. It does have some important information that this is a card that you may use while inside the park. It is not your ticket to actually get inside the park. So you still have to pay for your Universal ticket to go into the park. This card is just something that you may use inside to get on certain rides, attractions, shows. So when you first get to the park, you go through, you scan your card, you get your fingerprint for adults. Children do not need to scan their fingerprint. But once it gets in you, again, once you get inside the park, it suggests that you go straight to guest services and see exactly what accommodations that you may have with your accessibility pass. But also reading and through all the things that I have just talked about will let you know ahead of time of some of the accommodations that you may receive while at the park during your visit. Now, before, when we had a family get the DAS pass, we were able to just go up to guest services, give them some information, and they would decide right there whether or not you qualified. That is no longer the case. Everything must be submitted online. Universal no longer decides who does or who does not get the accessibility pass. So there is some important information that you need to submit in order to see if you qualify. And the first thing here, it says that you need a recent photo of the card holder for identification and contact information for the person who is going to have the card. Or if they are not 18, then you need the information for their parents or guardians. You also need contact information and a statement from a medical provider. You did not need to have this before. It was just by word of the person, but now it is requiring that you have information from a medical provider saying why you would need an accessibility pass at a theme park. It goes on to mention a few of the different people that may be eligible to register for this accessibility pass at Universal. Some examples may include people who cannot sit or stand for long periods of time, who requires a ride harness or some other type of support, people with sensory sensitivities, wheelchair access, physical or mobility restrictions, people who may require visual assistance or guidance, as well as anyone with a special dietary need. So those are just a few of the examples that the website lists. It also mentions some frequently asked questions for you. So like, how long is the accessibility card available for? And you can click on the plus sign right there and it'll give you an answer to those questions. So for example, the first one here, if you click on it and the plus sign goes on to say that the accessibility card is good for 1 full year. Following the registration card, it can be updated and renewed as many times as you need it. So that's very good information to know. So the next question, which is a really good question, it's asking if the IAC card that you're registering for is good for any amusement park or any attraction. And that's a good question. So we know we're registering for Universal if you're watching this, and you're wondering, hey, can I use this pass for any other park? Well, on this little blue link here, if you click here, it will tell you any other place that also accepts this type of card. If you go ahead and click onto that link, a whole nother page pops up and shows you all the different locations that have also participating accessibility for that pass. So that's pretty interesting. So here it is right there. You can pause the screen as you're watching this video or go to the link yourself and see what other places that you can use this pass after you register for it and get accepted. The next question that they have on here is, will I get a physical card? And the answer is no. The card is digital download only. You get registered and accepted, it will be able to download on an app. And there is also an option though that you can print it out. So if you're at your home, you have the app, you open it up, there is an option that you can print there. So you're at your home, you can print it out, and then you can bring that with you to the park as well. But they are not going to just send you a physical copy of this pass. The next question is, where do I show this card? So I have the card, it's a digital download, you got accepted, you did everything you need to. Now it's time for your great vacation, and now what? What do you do with it? It says take it to guest services and they will let you know of the accommodations that you can have. I know with the old DAS pass, you could just take it and go straight to the team members in front of each ride that you wanted to ride, and they would write down on your physical card a comeback time so that you wouldn't have to wait as long in the line. I believe it is going to start on July 24th for this new IA pass to come in effect. Another question is, how much is this pass going to cost? It is free of charge, just like the old DAS pass. The new IAC card is also going to be free of charge. Just register online, have it on your downloadable for this app, and then just bring it there, no cost to you whatsoever. And then it says, what is the registration process? That is the next question. So then it takes you through some steps, and it says, complete the online application is step 1. Step 2, take the IAC to a participating park, which we talked about the list that you can have that card to other than Universal Studios. And then number 3, get access to your accommodations. The very last question that they have on here for frequently asked questions is, what if I delete it on my phone? What if I lose it? And if you printed out a physical copy, what if you lose it? What, you're at the park, you're doing all kinds of things, and you accidentally throw it away when you're eating, or you sit it down and you lose it somewhere, it falls out of your pocket, or you delete it on your phone. So what's going on? Well, you can always log on to your registration. So since it is an app, you should have a password and a username, and even if you delete it, you could download it from the cloud again, and all of your information should be saved. All right, so now that we have talked about how to get started with your new IAC pass. Let's go ahead and click the blue register here button and see how exactly we can sign up for this new pass. All right, so we clicked on the register button and a whole new page came up, and it says at the very top different languages that you can have if you need it in a different language other than English. And then you can start entering all of your registration information. So at the top, it starts with your email address. You're going to be creating a password. You're going to confirm that password. It mentions a partner code over here, but if you do not have that, you can just skip that to the little box where you click it and say, I'm not a robot, and then move on to the next page. All right, so after you do all of the registration process, if you go back to the main screen, say you did delete the app and you want to log in again, the green button down here below says already registered, log in here. So if you log in that way, you can also have an option if you forget your password and log in that way if you already have registered. Once you sign in, go to contact information at the top, and then scroll down past the information part, scroll down until you get to the requirements. And here you'll have to fill in your email again and put if you're filling this out for yourself as the card holder, or if you're filling it out for someone else. Then you need to fill in the country that you live in, your address and city, and state and zip code. You'll also be required to fill in your phone number. You can always save your information and come back to it later if you don't have time to complete it all in one sitting. You can hit next to go on to the next page, or what I'm going to do is just go to the top of the page again where it says contact information. Click the arrow and then go down to the next one, which says card holder information. Once on this page, this is the second section to fill out. And once you get past all of the information up at the top again, it will remind you that you can also download this card on an app. But at the bottom is where you need to fill out your information. So it says that you will need to have the first and last name of the person who is going to need the accommodations, as well as a photo, and right here is where you're going to be placing it all. So it lets you just choose a file. So if you're doing it on your phone, you could do it that way, or on a laptop or a desktop computer. Just choose your file and then select it for download. After you choose your photo, you can go to the helpful accommodations and select all of the helpful accommodations that may apply to the person needing the card. So just to name a few is wheelchair access, service animal, or auditory. And you can just scroll through there and click through as many as you need. The next is the selections or the attractions that you are planning to visit in the near future. So there are all kinds of places here that you can click on that you are able to use with this card specifically. So like Discovery Cove, for example, Aquatica, and other places like H2O in Orlando that you may use this card for. So just be sure to click the ones that you think that you're going to be going to, and then go on to the next section. The next section is the terms and conditions for the card, and it has lots of important information there that you can go and read through at any time, that you can just log back onto the app. You need to click the box that says I agree to all of their terms and conditions. And then again, you can save your information or hit next to go on to the third page, but I'm going to go back up to the very top again and click my arrow at the top. So again, click the arrow, go to accommodations information is the third section of the accommodation. The details here at the top again will include some information about the new card system. After you read through all of the information at the top of the page there, you will come to the part where you need to fill in some more things. So first of all, you need to put the full name of the professional, healthcare, education, or government professional, confirming the accommodations that are needed for the person acquiring the card. And then you're going to do the drop-down menu where it says please select the title of the professional there and include their phone number and their email address if they have one. Next, you can download your supporting documentation. So again, you can choose a file, whether you're doing it on your phone or a computer, and it is required to upload some form of document. And it needs to have a statement of the cardholder's name and the education or healthcare provider or the government provider or agency that specifically is going to say the accommodations that they need. Then you're going to answer a few questions such as, can you stand? Can the card holders stand for longer than 10 minutes? Yes or no? And is the card holder able to stand in line with other guests? After that, you can hit submit application, and then all you have to do is wait on their reply. And as soon as you get your card, take it to guest services at Universal. I know this was a lot of information, and I don't normally do just sit down and talk videos. I normally would be walking around the park and giving all of this information, but I'm not even in Florida right now, as I've mentioned earlier. So I wanted to give this information out though before the 24th, when I believe this is to start. So I really hope everyone the best of luck as they are trying to sign into this new disability access. Comment down below if this was helpful for you, and please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more upcoming videos on Universal Islands of Adventure. We've gone to SeaWorld, we've gone to Discovery Cove, we've gone to Disney, all Disney parks, plus the water parks, Volcano Bay, and Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon. We've done putt-putt videos. We've also done videos of other places as well, not just Orlando. So please check everything out and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And now it's your family time. Bye.